I'm always down with the debut of a new character, and Arkham Knight takes center stage in Detective Comics 1001. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is going to be an IRA review, and today we are talking about Detective Comics number 1001, written by Peter J Tomasi, with art by Brad Walker. And overall, the Arkham Knight was introduced inside the pages of Detective Comics number 1000, and some people might be familiar with him from the Arkham Knight video game. However, I don't necessarily know if they share a similar origin story, but Detective Comics is going to give us a better idea of what we can expect inside the DC comic universe. Coming off the high that was Detective Comics number 1000, which saw the collection of great creators and different stories regarding Batman, we now dive into Detective Comics number 1001, which gets a brand new logo and a brand new villainous character that's going to be taking on the Batman. As we open up in Gotham City, the sun setting on the horizon, we actually get a few different insignias, as well as a number of different characters that are going to go medieval on Batman's ass inside the city of Gotham. And with the story unfolding, Arkham Knight taking the lead, we actually see them unify under this one cheer. The eclipse is upon us. The Knights of the Sun are going to burn back the darkness that has engulfed Gotham. However, all over the city there is something else that's relatively alarming. As we see Jim Gordon and some sort of patrol officer standing in front of this playground, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of bats that have, littered this entire playground, all dead from some sort of unknown cause. Who is the only person that Gordon can contact? Of course, it would have to be the Batman, who is having his own kind of issues. And in these pages that are laid out by Brad Walker, we get to see a really interesting take on the character. The design of Bruce Wayne is interesting, as well as the design of the overall Batcave. I really like the way that this art style is headed, and I'm excited for how he's going to be a part of the creative team. We do get a little bit more understanding as Batman splays open these various bats and tries to find the cause of death, and overall, there doesn't really seem to be any. It doesn't make sense. There's no signs of poison, and there's no real conclusive evidence that is going to cause this issue. However, Bruce does know one person is going to be able to shine a little bit of light onto this. As we move back over to Arkham Knight and the Knights of the Sun, the work is continuing on some sort of device that is actually going to bring Gotham from its slumber, something that is going to cast this light upon the city and bring the darkness, to its knees, while Batman continues to make his way across the city and runs into Francine Langstrom. So she is actually associated with the Man-Bat and has taken his serum once before, but she's doing her research on what's exactly happening to the bats that are currently inside Gotham. Why are they feeling this pain? And she's actually hearing this screaming herself. It's causing her quite a bit of distress, to the point where she actually grabs the serum and injects it back into herself, converting her into a female version of Man-Bat, and immediately as she transforms, the blood starts flowing from her ears just due to this high-pitched screaming. She dives out the window and Batman follows, almost surfing on her back as he takes his cable and rides it into her mouth. The one thing that he can do is maintain some sort of control. He can't really account for any kind of property damage, but he's going to find out where she's actually headed, taking shortcuts through various buildings, smashing through these boardrooms, these restaurants, causing chaos until they end up at Gotham Zoo and the safari exhibit that is home to all the bats, and more dead bats. The screaming is just unreal, but Batman has to change her back before any permanent damage is really done. Too much white noise. And at that exact moment, the Knights of the Sun make their move. This device has launched this giant glowing orb, almost like a miniature sun, that is now hovering above Gotham, burning out the nighttime so that way they're in a perpetual state of daylight. Is there any kind of damage? What kind of casualties? It's almost like they detonated some sort of weapon across the city, but no, there's nothing of that kind. As Batman makes his escape, his cable is cut, and the Knights of the Sun are upon him. And this is really Batman fighting inside the light. He's done it before, and he does it in a lot of other different books. However, his element, the place that makes Batman Batman, is definitely the darkness, the shadows. He gets to use the element of surprise and planning. Now he's caught off guard inside the brightness. He doesn't necessarily know exactly what's happening, and it seems like their weapons are continually more effective than his are on them. But that doesn't mean that Bruce Wayne is helpless. If they're intent on pulling down Kane Castle, which is the setting that they're currently in, he's going to make sure that they bring it down on top of them and not necessarily on top of him. He buys himself a few seconds, but only enough time for another arrow to lodge itself inside his leg. These foes aren't who he's normally fought. They're driven, they're disciplined, they're dangerous to Batman, and inside the sunlight, he doesn't have a means of escape like he's normally used to. In desperation and filled with arrows like a porcupine, he throws out a smoke bomb so that way he can put more distance between him and them, but a shield comes out of nowhere and deflects it back at the Batman, encapsulating him in smoke, and now we find ourselves on the final page with the Arkham Knight standing there on top of him, boot on his skull, ready to finish the job, and it's time for the shadows to start running from themselves. And that's where we're going to end Detective Comics number 1001. This is the introduction of the Arkham Knight into the continuity inside the DC Universe. While we saw the first real cameo appearance inside Detective Comics number 1000 on that final page reveal, this is the beginning of that storyline that's going to create this antagonist, this opposite, this anti-hero version of the character that is going to be taking Batman to task and trying to push him out of his superheroing escapades. In Detective Comics number 1000, Peter J Tomasi set the groundwork for the character, giving us an insight into their mentality and how they feel Batman isn't necessarily a suitable savior for the Gotham City. But what really makes Arkham Knight a better fit for that kind of role? We don't necessarily know about that yet, but we're going to find out in upcoming issues. When we take a look back at the art, I think the addition of Brad Walker to the title is going to be fantastic. I like the way that he's rendering the characters, and ultimately a lot of the action scenes are extremely dynamic. It's a really good working team, and I can't wait to see what they set up in future issues, because Brad Walker seems to be extremely excited about working on the title and really carrying this character forward. The Arkham Knight is a new addition to the Batman mythos, even though he did have a digital comic that was tied into the video game from Rocksteady, and I really am excited to see what kind of developments Tomasi puts into them, because, well, Peter J Tomasi actually wrote the introduction comic that associated the Arkham Knights game, so he's very familiar with this character in a different capacity. But I want to know what you guys think, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, and more.